I'm sorry, gentlemen. I've noticed this especially with some men who seem to think Trump's behavior, the bullying and the putting people down, is a sign of strength. And I am here to tell you that is not what real strength is. It never has been. Real strength is about helping people who need it and standing up for those who can't always stand up for themselves. That is what we should want for our daughters and for our sons. And that is what I want to see in a president of the United States of America.
It's a similar message that he delivered to campaign staffers earlier in the day when he addressed men who aren't feeling the idea of having a woman president. With a particular message, some of the brothers.
Women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time. So now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is. And y'all know some of those brothers. And it's true of the African American community, it's true of the Latino community, it's true of the white community. But I'm talking to y'all right now in this part of Pittsburgh.
President Obama will continue to bring his message to the voters in Tucson and Las Vegas next week. I'm joined now by Don Calloway, Democratic strategist, host of the Caucus Room podcast, and founder of the National Voter Protection Action Fund, and political strategist Marcus Ferrell. So, Marcus, we'll start with you because you're not here in our nice air-conditioned studio. My phone was blown up yesterday after President Obama spoke. Many African-American men were texting me with frustration and annoyance about one aspect of what President Obama said. What are some of the things that you're hearing black men say after Obama again specifically chastised black men in regards to turnout and support of Kamala Harris heading into this year's election?
I'm hearing two things. The first thing that I'm hearing is that, there is some sense of right to what the president was saying, but for the most part, I'm hearing that this is not necessarily true. And I know for experience that black men, they vote at 85% plus for Democratic candidates. Stacey Abrams, Hillary Clinton, John Ossoff, Raphael Warnock, and Barack Obama, right? They have supported Obama at a high level. So it almost feels like a level of chastisement. You don't need to talk to black men. You need to talk to the white women and white men who are still supporting Trump. You need to talk to maybe the campaign. If you feel like black men aren't going to necessarily vote for your candidate, then you talk to the campaign and say, "Hey, campaign, what are you saying wrong? Are we not talking about jobs? Are we? If you look on Twitter today, there's another police shooting, right? How do we address these issues that actually affect black men and black men take a look at? But it is completely false. It's completely, as we say in Atlanta, cap. It's completely cap for anybody to literally try to say that black men aren't supporting Democrats. Now, whether you believe in that fact or not, at the end of the day, I think President Obama was a little off when it comes down to his chastisement of black male voters.
So, Don, we've heard this story before, right? Barack Obama has a tendency to speak in a particular kind of way to black male voters. I mean, I was there when he spoke to Morehouse and was talking to a bunch of guys who were about to graduate from college and basically telling them to pull up their pants. Yeah. And there's an annoyance with that. But is there some truth to it? I mean, is there a line between, hey, you got to deal with some of these brothers who are sexist, and also sometimes the former president going too far into respectability politics?
He lives in respectability politics because he's a creature of them. And that's the universe he came up in. I mean, you and I are black men, and you look who's in there when he's giving that sermon. His young brothers who would still idolize him. That has no place amongst folks like you and I, or professionally his peers. and he doesn't deliver that message to them. He has this condescending way of coming out and preaching to black men in a way that he doesn't do to any other segment of the American population. And it's quite troubling, but it's also just a form of some level of detachment. First of all, the brothers who need to be brought into the fray here, ain't none of them voted for Barack Obama, because nobody under 30 has ever voted for Barack Obama. So it makes me wonder kind of where he is in terms of this ongoing condescension of black men, because let's be clear, if Kamala Harris does not win this election, it won't be because of black men. It will be because of everyone else other than black women. And oh, by the way, the 10 years of ongoing pernicious voter suppression in a post-Shelby County versus Holder world. And Barack Obama ain't out there preaching about that.
Marcus, several weeks ago here on the network, I was talking about the fact that if Democrats are worried about one constituency of men going forward, it should be Latino men. That's where the numbers are actually falling back and falling off in a way that you don't see with other groups of people. And there was a lot of pushback, and you had some activists and organizers saying, et cetera, et cetera. But you've worked in Arizona, you've worked in Florida, you've worked in Georgia. Is there a general problem with men across the board when it comes to voting for a woman candidate for president? Do you think that it's a general men issue and Obama is just focusing on black men because that's who he can speak to? Or is this a particular problem with him?
Well, obviously not with black men, because we are literally showing up for the people that affect us and care about us the most. You don't see the Castro twins out here talking to Latino folks about, like, talking to their base about how Obama talks to us. You don't see Hillary Clinton going on lives and talking to white women, which she needs to do, about, like, hey, you know what? Why are you going for this fascist that might be the next president? The only voting demographic that people feel very comfortable in chastising is black men. And here's what I want to point out very specifically. At the end of the day, we are looking at an electorate that shows up consistently, is underfunded, and this campaign literally just got chastised by black folks for not even hiring enough black people and black vendors in general. It kind of looks like you guys are don't have the professionals at the top to give former President Obama some talking points like, no, these brothers are out here. And the reason, that comes down to, hey, who do you hire on the campaign? And I'm not knocking the brothers and sisters that are on the campaign, but vendors, conversations with community members. And I will give the campaign some props. They have done a lot of good work recently, but we need to be centered not just in October, right? Like not a month before the election. We need to be centered in January, a couple of days after the inauguration. And that's what's not happening. All of a sudden, you find yourself in this predicament, scrambling to try to talk to black men. You shouldn't be in that predicament whatsoever. You should produce policy that affects our communities, and you should actually do things to show.
Don Calloway and Marcus Ferrell. I have a feeling we could continue this for the rest of the show, but we can't. We're up on a break. Thank you guys so much.